Bite-sized.
Welcome to Gaikoku Gamers, I'm Darryl Benson, and we're here to talk to you guys today about the Wii U, specifically about first-party games not coming here to the United States, or Europe, or Canada, or basically anywhere outside of Japan. We just learned today from, I think it was Koei of Europe that Fatal Frame is not coming stateside, nor is it coming anywhere outside of Japan. And Fatal Frame was one of the big cult favorites. It used to be a really big franchise on the PlayStation 2, and since made its way to Nintendo when the Wii came out, and then now this is the first Fatal Frame for the Wii U. There's also been a 3DS game that didn't sell too well, but be as it may. People are really excited about Fatal Frame. They've been really building up the hype. They've even, been broadcasting the Japanese Nintendo Directs that show Fatal Frame. It's whether they meant to or not, it got a lot of people excited for the title. There's been all sorts of cool stuff that's been announced for it. You have Dead or Alive support. There's a character with its own mission. I could go on, but basically, this is a mature title that would have sold decently, at the very least, on the Wii U. At least combined with all the territories that it has not been released in. And at the very least, even if it didn't sell great, the Wii U isn't necessarily like bursting at the seams with software right now. And I mean that from a first, second, or third-party perspective. It doesn't even seem like Nintendo is supporting their own console, and it's sad. The 3DS is getting all these awesome games. Heck, it even got Smash Brothers first, which makes no sense considering the series is a console staple. I mean, if they want to go ahead and release the handheld version of Smash Brothers in Japan first, because they're a more handheld-centric country, then fine. But to do that around the world just doesn't make any sense, and you're basically already taking wind out of the sail of the Wii U, a sail that's already struggling to move the boat, so to speak. And it's just really concerning. We have Mario Kart, which not saying it isn't a great game, but it's not a Destiny type game. I don't mean in comparison game to game. I mean it's not a game that you can play for months and months and months and months and months and not get bored with. It's a racing game, and racing games, especially Mario Kart games, kind of take your attention in waves. And they have DLC coming, but it's not until later. And in fact, half the DLC that many of us, including myself, purchased won't even be coming out until like probably first quarter or second quarter of next year. I've never heard of DLC that you purchase that isn't going to come out for another 6 months or more. That's just really stupid. I mean, I know Nintendo's kind of behind the curve right now with DLC, but this really bothers me. It's kind of nice to learn about certain things like we learned about today with Bayonetta 2. How if you wear the Star Fox costume, then there's a section that has you controlling the R-Wing instead of whatever you're supposed to control, and shooting down ships with the the classic lasers and the bombs with the big N64 looking little spiky bombs, and it's freaking awesome. But this late into a console's lifespan, the first sign of a long forgotten franchise like Star Fox or Metroid or Wave Race or Animal Crossing or any of these franchises that have not been on the Wii U yet, the first sign of that should not be as a cameo. Because what that does to customers, including myself, is remind people how many franchises have yet to grace your system. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate Platinum putting in all that extra love and attention, and I think it has made me interested in a game that otherwise I really couldn't care less about because I didn't really like the first game. However, if I was Nintendo putting all these little cameos in it, I mean, how can you not be hit in the face like a brick wall, like None of these games that we're making parodies of are are on the Wii U. Kind of just, it's concerning. And me and Mike were talking about this the other day. I just don't know where they're headed. Because frankly, even the next Zelda game doesn't look very entertaining. I'm not saying it doesn't look pretty, but they say it's open world, but then the way that they showed it, it made it pretty clear that it's going to be the same type of layout as always. I think they might not understand what we mean by open world. I think they think, oh, it's an open world. But, you know, if it's a Zelda game, I know they're going to have you go to specific places at specific times. It's going to be story-driven. You're probably going to be locked out of areas. It's not going to be open world. It's not going to be Skyrim, where if you decide to go to the school, you can do that. If you decide to go into a battle, you can do that. If you decide to not do shit, you can do that. I don't see Zelda working in that way, and thus, in my personal opinion, that's not what I would consider open world. So I'm nervous about that. And then, you know, we have Hyrule Warriors, which frankly, it's a Dynasty Warrior game with a skin swap. I'm not excited about that like I would be a new Zelda game. And that's about it. I mean, I know we have X sometime in the future, the unknown future. They've been, and for people before they, you know, you fly down my throat here, we've been waiting for X now. I mean, they've been flaunting that in front of our face since before the Wii U even came out. I remember them showing that off as a showpiece. You can't keep using the same game as a showpiece, you know, 2-3 years into the console's lifespan. At that point, it's like, yeah, whatever. When it comes out, it comes out. I'm not saying it won't be great. I'm sure it will be great, but they need to start releasing some fucking games. And, you know, third parties are jumping off the ship like rats, unfortunately. So if that's the case, you need to start releasing first and second party titles. And if you don't have enough people to release titles on a monthly basis, hire more people, buy more devs, do whatever the hell you have to do, or frankly, abandon ship and start with a new console that's on the same power grade as everybody else. Because that's the problem here. No one wants to make a port of a current generation game for old crappy hardware. And I love the Wii U. I have one right there. Yeah, to the left of the GameCube. There. It's hard to see. It's black. It's vertical. And it's great. I have a lot of digital games on it, and it's a fantastic little system for what it is. But it's not a $300 system in my eyes. It's not a $250 system in my eyes. It's not even a $200 system in my eyes. I probably barely want to pay $150 for it. It's outdated. It's outdated, and the tablet controller didn't work the way they thought it would work. It didn't catch on the way that they thought it would catch on. And when the tablet controller can't even be used properly by Nintendo, nonetheless third parties, I mean, look at Donkey Kong. There was just a black screen. They didn't do anything with it. It wasn't even on. When you don't even know what to do with it, how can you expect third parties to know what to do with it? And between that and the lack of power and hardware, people have moved on. It doesn't mean that the system isn't capable. It doesn't mean that the system isn't fun. It doesn't mean that the system doesn't have some decent games. But there is no software support. And to make this a roundabout thing, it's really... It really makes me angry when they go ahead and do things like go against a word. Because remember, was it last E3? Iwata said, we're going to make the Wii U a global experience. So what one person is able to experience in Japan, you'll be experiencing in Europe, or America, or Canada, or Brazil, or wherever the hell you are. And they said that they're going to be releasing the same games in every single territory. It's going to be like a thing where everybody gets to play the same games. We haven't seen that at all. Where's Dragon Quest? Where's Fatal Frame? Where's half the titles? Go to PlayAsia sometime and look at the titles that are out for the Japanese Wii U. It's depressing. I wish we had half the titles that they have. It's still depressing. It's still not what I would consider a great library. But they have more than we do. And you shouldn't, as a Nintendo fan, have to wait months for the next game to play. Because the problem with that is not everyone who owns a Nintendo Wii U is going to be interested in the same games. So if, in my case, I'm not interested in Hyrule Warriors or Bayonetta, I basically have Smash Brothers, and then I have to wait until Toad's game. And then that's it. And then whenever the hell X is released, which there's no firm release date for that. That's not going to make people keep their systems, not in the least. And in fact, Mike already got rid of his Wii U. So there you have it. And Mike is one of those type of guys who has like every system. You know, he loves playing games no matter what system it is, no matter who makes a system. He can't even stand it. And frankly, I'm starting to get there myself. In fact, if I didn't have so many digital games that I can't sell that are worth me keeping, not for future releases, this is the releases that I already have, this because I feel guilty about this, basically chucking it, I'd probably think about getting rid of mine too. And this has been a really humbling and sobering generation, I think, for Nintendo, in the sense that it hasn't sold. But what I'm concerned about is that it hasn't been humbling for Nintendo. It's been humbling for like fans of Nintendo, but not for Nintendo. I don't think they want to admit that they're in a problem. For God's sakes, Iwata just had his contract renewed, and him and Reggie are pretty much the most useless people at Nintendo. They keep on perpetuating everything that is wrong with Nintendo. You have no IDs that are like a modern ID. Online infrastructure, despite the fact that it's free, is a joke. You have no communication with third-party developers, so you're not making hardware that third-party developers want you to make, which causes them to jump ship, and it causes them not to release any titles for your system. It's not clicking with customers because it's not flying off the shelves. The gamepad gimmick is a wash. You know, I think they really need to understand that the Wii, the original Wii, was lightning in a bottle. And they should never have called the Wii U Wii U. You want to call it U, fine. You want to call it Next Gen Nintendo System number whatever, fine. I could care less what you call it, but to call it Wii, that, dude, when the Wii U came out, the Wii was so dead and that fad was so over that the name Wii has no clout. And coupled with a system that was aged, you know, Nintendo fans like me are going to buy it. But how's a typical Nintendo fan going to go ahead and, I don't mean Nintendo fan, how's a typical gamer going to be excited by that? By another Wii, which is dead and not popular anymore, and that whole casual crowd has left the building for iPhones and God knows what. And you don't have graphics, you don't have third-party support. How are we supposed to be excited about buying your hardware? And I think that's what they really need to ask themselves. I mean, we've seen some glimmer of hope, to be fair. You know, Nintendo has gone ahead and said recently that, you know, basically screw casuals. We're not catering to them anymore. We're going to go back to our roots. But the problem with that is that it takes time. It takes time to make a Star Fox game. It takes time to make a Metroid game. It takes time to make a Wave Race game and an F-Zero game and every other game that they have in the repertoire, which they haven't made yet for the Wii U. And frankly, I think it's going to be too late. We might get these in the following next couple or 3 years. But is it going to save the system? No. The fate of the system has sailed. And the only thing I'm thankful of is that Nintendo has plenty of money that they can coast through this and hopefully do things the proper way and focus on the gamer on the next-gen system. And speaking of which, in a case of this bullcrap with Fatal Frame, either do what you say and release games in every territory, or make your system region-free. You're going to get the money anyway. What do you care? Just make it region. Actually, you know what? Screw having universal releases. Just make all your systems region-free. And that, by the way, includes your 3DS, because your portable line used to always be region-free. So not sure what that's all about, but it's annoying. Because you have people like me who have to buy a Japanese system, even though we're not supposed to buy a Japanese system. You know, just follow Sony and Microsoft's example. And what I mean by that is Sony went after the gamers. They gave gamers everything that they wanted. Now Xbox kind of started with a bit of a stumble, but as soon as Phil Spencer's come in here, he's fixed everything, and he's basically doing everything and more that PlayStation is doing, and he's making it all about the gamers too. Nintendo has not followed suit, and they're going to be left behind if they don't do anything about it. Anyway, I'm going to cut that short at 15 minutes right here, so thank you for watching another bite-sized episode. We really appreciate it. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate your subscriptions, and everything's been going up, views and everything, and subscriptions, so it's been great, and we really like it when you guys comment, and even if it's negative, go ahead and tell us what you think, and we will reply back to you. So please check us out daily. Now, I will be on vacay, so Mike will probably be posting videos in the next couple days instead of me, and if he doesn't, I shall see you all on Thursday or Friday. So until then, I'm Darryl Benson. It's been another bite-sized episode. We'll see you then.